And let me give you a background on the work that we do here in New York and around the country. Back in 1985, a group of guys, we started St. Michael's Institute for the Psychological Sciences to bring together indisputable evidence in science, neurology, psychiatry, psychology, and Catholic theology loyal to John Paul, not to conservatives, monsignors, liberal bishops, Dr. So-and-so up the street from Columbia. No, just the Pope. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing else. And this wonderful science. And I've been practicing for many years. And the joy is that I've been sitting in front of wonderful people, men and women, in great suffering. This 20th century and 21st century has created enormous change and enormous pain in all of us. It certainly did in me, and God brought me from areas of great suffering and great sin into his glorious presence and plopped me right in front of Mother Teresa, who says, come here, we're going to work together. Okay? And I felt at that time, I suppose like many of the prophets felt, well, all the prophets felt, look, I'm not ready for this. But she works with the ragtag, and we worked together for 12 years on the mental health of the broken and the poor. I've seen so much sexual abuse in women in this country. I used to work for 13 years with the secular population primarily or only. Then God moved me into the whole area of the Christian population and the Catholic population. And the suffering that women go through and men go through, the divorces, the abortions, the verbal abuse, the emotional thing, everyone knows it. And now the external stuff, jihad coming into New York and all this, and this administration and all that. So the good news, though, that I noticed is that when you sit with people who are hurting and you love them, the mother told me, you know, your patient, Philip, is really Jesus, disguised. This schizophrenic, this lesbian woman, this depressed person, this angry guy, is really Jesus. Literally, not symbolically. Oh, so, wow. So I had this gangster over here. I said, how you doing, Jesus? He said, how you doing? So I saw Jesus talk like me. This is good. Or I talk like him. And the wonderful thing I've learned through all these years is that if the patient is Jesus, she says, and Philip, you be Simon of Cyrene, lift the cross from his shoulder. And if you can't see Jesus there, because it's very hard very, very often, right? Then you ask Mary to give you a heart that is pure, and she will take out your heart, give you a heart that's pure, and you'll see Jesus right there. So there he is. There he is, disguised. So it's a wonderful thing to be a doctor who's lifting the cross from Jesus. I tell you, I see 10 people a day, and I'm not tired at the end of the day. I'm invigorated. I get tired when people are doing good. How you doing? Fine, fine. So, hey, you doing? Fine, good. Fine. I'm supposed to carry a cross right now. Everything's fine. How you doing? How's your golf game? Praise the Lord. Okay. That's what gets me tired. Because it's superficial, it's not real, it's not honest, it's not boring. I mean, it's boring. Because it's not honest. Right? People get honest to me. People say, I've told you things I haven't even told God. I said, well, God already knows. And he digs you. Okay, you're okay. So let's work. So what we're going to talk about very briefly today, this is an enormous topic. In the 1990s, I was asked by the John Paul II Institute to teach the research over the last 15 years that's going on in science, in neuroscience, about how the female brain works and how the male brain really works. And for the first time in history, we have instruments that go in, PET scans, SPECT scans, functional MRIs, endocrinological instruments, to actually see when a woman is talking or active or a man is thinking. Well, actually, there are very few thinking men, but That really is true when we look in the brain. Well, okay? I mean, I think. I pretend to think, let's say that. Okay? Because women always think, are you really listening? You're not listening. Or how about this one? So what are you thinking about, John? Nothing. And he's honest. Now we know why that's true. It's not because what the women think. He doesn't like me. He doesn't want to talk to me. He's selfish. You are selfish. You are shut down. You are abandoning me. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a woman's brain is on 24 hours a day. We can actually go in and look. Even when she's sleeping. This is a nightmare for most men. No, he's thinking all the time. Our brain, literally, we go in with PET scans, can see it goes on and off, on and off. That's why we can sit, walk around, sit in the house, and look, and stare. And the women say, so, how do you feel? He says, yeah. No, how do you feel? Not yes. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Talking about? You don't want to talk to me? Well, I want to talk. What do you want to talk about? Well, what are you thinking? Nothing. No. You're thinking of something. Am I making this up? You see this all the time on dates? Anybody married here? Anybody on dates? Okay, guy says nothing. You know, now guys have to lie. Oh, I've been thinking about how beautiful you are. Now he's got to go to confession. So he says, well, I better have the relationship as the trade-off. I'll be in sin, but I'll have a relationship. No. Let's look at an overview of this whole gender thing that is so good because it is so relevant. I've got 25 tapes out, DVDs now, that makes it practical about what I'm about to say. I'm doing this now with premarital couples who come in to me, changes the whole thing. It makes it very, very effective. With happily married couples, gets better. Seriously troubled marriage, gets better. This information, when it's practical, is an amazing thing. Christopher West and I gave a talk in New York. He did the theology of the body, I did the psychology of the body and the psychology of the person. We put them both together, and boom. This is the healing for me, for you, in our relationships with one another in the 21st century. Well, let's get down to what's really going on, okay? Some of the stuff. And we only have 45 minutes. This is really a 2-year talk. First of all, let's look at how God the Father made our bodies, the morphology. This is going to tell us, God is telling us something about the interior and physical aspect of our bodies. Okay? First of all, the male body, the genitalia are external. And the phallus emits, goes out, takes initiative, inseminates, and so forth. The female body is primarily internal. Ova, womb, vagina. So you have the externality. So what? Well, what's happening here? That physical structure stimulates the psyche of the male and female to be characteristically in a particular way, particularly in between male and female relationships and ultimately between husband and wife. So the male modality, God is saying, is take initiative. What is the definition of masculinity? The definition of masculinity is the male who takes initiative regularly and he initiates something that's good for others at a cost to himself, at a sacrifice to himself, and sustains what he has initiated with power and love as a positive leader, as a protector, defender, lover, and a wise counselor.